Part 87. He's very hateful. I'm heartbreaking, lost my feelings and my love token. Xuan Huaifeng got angry outside the study room. The words came out of Bai Xuelan's mouth and entered Xuan Huaifeng's heart and mind. He was borrowed by Bai Xuelan and scolded him repeatedly, but he couldn't refute it with a single word. Just turn around and leave. After walking in a hurry for a while, I stopped to take a look. The sparkling waves and the green leaves were like discs. It turned out that I had returned to the lotus pond again, and I was lost. He picked a boulder and sat down, watching the little fish swimming lightly under the lotus leaf, hiding from the sun. He was fascinated for a while, and sat in a daze for 20 minutes, when suddenly he heard a voice, and suddenly startled, he turned around. It turned out that 2 guards were patrolling. And they were passing by on the gravel road in the back. I didn't know what to talk about. They were talking happily, and they didn't pay much attention to the people sitting by the pond. They passed by with their long spears on their backs. Xuan Huaifeng felt stupid again. He took the initiative to ask for peace, and asked himself that he had already given up 3 points. Since Bai Xuelan refused to accept this situation and refused, that was Bai Xuelan's choice. Why did Bai Xuelan break the kite string, and he would feel sad and be a laughable loser? I can only hate this person, since he had the idea of not communicating with each other. Why did he do the work of a spy again, to inquire about the few words he had said? And still remember all the hatred, and call him back like a gun without missing a word? It is good. Don't you let me have fun? Then I'll be happy. If you don't communicate, you simply don't communicate at all. Sparks ignited in Xuan Huaifeng's eyes. Thinking of this, most of the weakness in my heart disappeared. Because I was determined to fight against it. I was cheered up as if I had found a goal. He stood up, as if to record the moment of determination, and raised his wrists to roll up his sleeves. Just stunned. The wrist was empty. And there was no trace of the diamond-encrusted gold watch sent by Bai Xuelan. Xuan Huaifeng was stunned, and rubbed his 5 fingers on his wrist, as if he was not sure that it was really gone. Where did it go? Where did it go? He hurriedly rummaged through his pockets and searched for it, but still I couldn't find it, and I was sweating profusely. After standing and thinking hard for a while, I suddenly remembered that I went to my sister's house today, and I took it off when I washed my hands and put it on the wooden shelf. Why did you just forget this? While he was remorseful, he felt that he should not regret it at the same time, and said stubbornly in his heart, this watch was sent by Bai Xuelan to express his love. Maybe it was lost, it was a certain destiny. He sat back on the boulder angrily, clenching his fists and pressing his knees. But how long can he be so stubborn? The futile struggle in the heart. If there is no audience, it is probably not necessary to continue. In less than a while, he stood up again in that unease as if he had failed at something. Even though he was very unconvinced. He hurried to the direction of the phone room. When I got to the telephone room, I dialed Nian's house. As soon as the servant heard the voice, he knew it was him, and said respectfully, "Young Master Xuan, wait a moment, I'll ask Madam to answer your phone." Xuan Huaifeng hurriedly said, "No, don't disturb my sister, just find Zhang Mama." The servant said, "Okay. I'll call her over for you. Zhang Mama sees that my master and miss are using the phone a lot, and she is called to answer the phone." It was the first time, but it was very fresh and nervous. I came over and wiped my hands on the apron again and again. I picked up the heavy microphone, and I was afraid I would break this foreign thing and ask, "Is it the young master?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "Zhang Mama, it's me." Zhang Mama let out a long sigh. Xuan Huaifeng said, "I have one thing. I went to my sister's place today. Didn't you bring me water to wash my hands? There is a watch that I seem to have dropped. Did you see it?" Zhang Mama said, "What watch? Why didn't I see it?" Xuan Huaifeng became a little anxious when he heard that she didn't see it. So he suppressed it and said, "I remembered and put it on the wooden shelf on which the wash basin was placed. You really didn't see it?" Zhang Mama said, "Young master, if I see it, can I not tell you?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "Then you help me go to that room to find it. Maybe you didn't pay attention, and it landed in a corner. Hurry up. If you find it, put it away for me. Don't hang up, I'll be waiting for your reply here." Zhang Mama agreed, took the microphone and looked around, weighed it, and put it on the wooden table. She put it on the shelf and said to the servant, "Excuse me, please help me watch." The young master said not to hang it. She ran small steps to the small wing where Xuan Huaifeng brought hand-washing water during the day. But there were only towels of an old piece of wood hanging on the wooden shelf and no watch. Zhang Mama looked back and forth in the room, then hurriedly went back, took the microphone and said, "Little young master, there is nothing on the wooden shelf." Xuan Huaifeng asked, "What about the ground? Will it fall to the ground? What about behind the door? You have to look for it." Zhang Mama said, "I have seen it all, but there really isn't any." The phone on the other side was silent for a while. Zhang Mama said, "Don't worry. If you really accidentally left here, you will be able to find it." "Why not? I'll call more people and find it for you in detail." Xuan Huaifeng thought of the gold watch. "I really don't want outsiders to see the words behind, so I hurriedly told Zhang Mama not to do this, sighed, and said, 'A small thing, don't make a fuss. Just please help me pay attention to it. If you see it, be sure to collect it for me. Get up. You don't have to tell my sister about this." Zhang Mama hung up the phone, walked out of the phone room, and walked east of the atrium. It happened that Xuan Dayan's face flashed by the window, and she asked across the window, "Zhang Mama, I asked you to wash my hair with hot water, which made me wait for a long time. What are you doing, like burning your feet?" Then she turned around, walked into the main room, and said to Xuan Dayan, "I was on the phone with the young master just now." Xuan Dayan said, "Oh, that's a rare thing. You are so good-natured. What are you doing on the phone with him?" Zhang Mama just stood there and smiled. Xuan Dayan said, "Before me, don't be sloppy. Huaifeng has learned a lot of bad habits since he went to the customs office. I see him, he is always different from before. It seems that he is deliberately avoiding me. Now, even you are sneaking up? Hurry up, don't let me ask a second time. Otherwise, I'll ask the car to go to the White Mansion in person, and I have to ask everything." Zhang Mama had to say, "Miss, you have so wronged me. What am I being sneaky about? It's just that the young master said that he came here today. He probably took off his watch when washing his hands. And he forgot where he left it. He asked me to find it." Xuan Dayan said, "It's not a shame. Why didn't you talk about human affairs just now?" Zhang Mama said, "Oh, it's me. It's the young master who said don't mention it to you. Probably that watch is worth a few dollars. He is to let you know. I'm afraid you will scold him for not cherishing things." Xuan Dayan said, Go, go. I am in your eyes now. I have survived the king of hell, and I have become a dominatrix. Why does everyone act like they are afraid of me? What's the matter? Less disgusting people. Besides, other people don't know me. Don't you know me? Why did I ever scold him for these money and material things?" Zhang Mama said, "This is. In fact, miss, your heart hurts. Young master. I know best." Xuan Dayan raised her hand and pulled out the hairpin on her head, and said, "Come on with hot water, it's really itchy these 2 days. Also, the piece you brought back yesterday. Bring out the spring flower soap, I want to use it." She twisted her neck slightly, and half of her body was reflected in the opposite vanity mirror. She put her hand on her bulging belly, rubbed lightly through her clothes, and smiled at the mirror. Put this matter aside. Xuan Huaifeng was very depressed after talking with Zhang Mama on the phone. In his heart, Bai Xuelan was hateful, but even if he apologized, he might not have any plans to get back together. But that gold watch should not be lost. This is his own fault. Bai Xuelan's casual remarks in the car also made Bai Xuelan hate it like this. If Bai Xuelan knew that the watch was lost, it would be even more incredible. When Xuan Huaifeng thought of this, he bit his lower lip. It was as if the two sides in the struggle were battling each other, arguing with each other. One of them was inattentive and a little negligent, but was caught by the enemy's own fault and was very aggrieved. He decided to keep this secret and never let Bai Xuelan know. Xuan Huaifeng walked out of the phone room and walked back unobtrusively from under the flower wall. The hanging grapevine gently brushed over the top of his head and forehead, scratching it. As he walked, he raised his hand to brush away the gentle and lingering branches, and the small dark green leaves slipped in his palm, full of the smell of summer evening. It's really annoying and heartbreaking to be caught in this troublesome quarrel and break up when it should be colorful. Xuan Huaifeng sighed helplessly, wanting to completely hate Bai Xuelan, so that he could stay away from this mood of worrying about gains and losses. But easier said than done. The hatred for Bai Xuelan is like a tide. Know that he is hateful, hateful, too hateful. When the tide was high, the sea of hatred surged over and flooded a large area. You thought it was all buried. But as time goes by, every minute and every second, there will always be a low tide, and it cannot be stopped. The water receded inch by inch, and the eternal beach was exposed again and again. Only to know where there was a burial. Still sand is sand, reef is reef. There are even a few more shells of smooth and beautiful memories, dotted on the beach like jewels. Xuan Huaifeng shook his head and muttered to himself, I'm on the pirate ship. Getting on the boat is easy, but getting off the boat is difficult. As if to reconcile with his worldly love. At this moment, a worldly aroma of food floated from him and got into his nose. I had never eaten 2 bites of rice that day, but I was suddenly hungry. Xuan Huaifeng raised his head. And after a little concentration, he heard a faint sound of music, like a Beijing Hu Pipa ensemble, and someone was singing. While thinking about it, a man dressed as an attendant suddenly turned out from the small door in front of him. When he saw Xuan Huaifeng, he quickly stopped and called out, Adjutant Xuan. Looking at the 3-tiered food box in his hand, he understood where the tempting aroma of the food just now came from. Behind this wall is the small kitchen in the mansion. Xuan Huaifeng said, It turns out to be you. How is your mother's illness now? Where are you taking so many good dishes? Xuan Huaifeng took a step back in panic and said, What are you doing? Get up quickly. Fu San kowtowed his head before standing up, patting the ashes on his knees, and said with a smile, Thanks to you, my mother's illness is completely cured. This is what her old man ordered, saying that when I see you, I must kowtow to you. This is not a coincidence, so I will kowtow one. I don't usually encounter it, and I don't dare to run away. I'm here to disturb you. I know the shameful things I've done. But I promise you that I've really changed. If my hands and feet are not clean, you can shoot me in the heart with a gun. Then, he added, these dishes were sent to the small flower hall, and the chief ate there. Xuan Huaifeng asked, He can eat these many dishes alone? Don't let it go. Fu San didn't want to say it at first, but because he felt that he owed Xuan Huaifeng's favor and was embarrassed to hide it from him, he hesitated for a moment, looked around, and said in a low voice, Adjutant Xuan, I tell you, don't take it to heart. Otherwise, I won't say it anymore. Why should I make you angry? Xuan Huaifeng thought about the pipa singing he heard just now, He had already guessed 3 points, and sighed, just say it. These days, I've always been to blame. How dare you be angry because of others' anger? Then Fu San secretly told him, many people are eating with the chief in the flower hall. These dishes have been delivered to the second round. And the chef in the small kitchen is still cooking. Originally, the chief asked someone to invite Yu Luha. Later, when Yu Luha arrived, the chief did not think it was lively enough. So he called her again, called a few more acquaintances, and prepared to play mahjong after dinner. Have fun with the best of his temperament. Now, you are not having fun. Xuan Huaifeng turned his head and left after hearing this. Fu San hurriedly pulled him and asked, don't go there, the little flower hall is chaotic and harassing you. The so-called acquaintances who sing opera are all people who can't be on the stage. You are a serious person. Don't have the same knowledge as them. You lost your status. Xuan Huaifeng turned his head and said, who is going to the small flower hall? I'm going back to the room to eat. Is it because he is so happy that my side deserves to starve? He said. Fu San just let go, and took the food box to deliver the meal. Xuan Huaifeng walked 20 or 30 meters and gradually slowed down. Originally, Fu San didn't mention it, he really had no intention of going to the small flower hall. Now that the pace slows down, I feel a little anxious in my heart. He also knows that it is extremely ridiculous, extremely sad, and extremely unacceptable to investigate what other people do with a narrow mind, hate and bitterness. And he has always claimed that he is innocent, but he has such an unrighteous mind. It's just. Xuan Huaifeng stopped, gritted his teeth, stomped his feet, resolutely turned his direction, and went straight to the small flower hall. Just walking to the bottom of the stairs, he heard a burst of laughter. Among the laughter of the women, there was Bai Xuelan's laughter. Although the laughter of those women was loud and noisy, although it was like wild flowers blooming all over the place, there were several kinds of charming and crisp in it. But they could not suppress the low laughter of Bai Xuelan that shook her chest, just like the eyes full of white snow, unable to hold back one. The pine trees stand upright in the wind. Hearing Bai Xuelan's laughter, Xuan Huaifeng stepped on the stairs and couldn't help but stop, looking up at the blurred shadow shaking on the second-floor window. Clenched fist. He asked himself that he had come with a calm attitude of no hatred, no anger, no resentment, but just wanted to see how far Bai Xuelan could make trouble. And he could be regarded as giving up his heart. Unexpectedly, before anyone saw it, just listening to that burst of laughter, a nameless fire burst into flames. He was even more angry than when Bai Xuelan scolded people through the door and was insulted for no reason. Xuan Huaifeng clenched the teeth of the upper and lower rows of white scallops tightly, preventing the leather heels from making noise on the wooden stairs, and quietly went up to the second floor, with his back against the wooden partition wall. He heard a female voice saying, "You can't escape this cup." Xuan Huaifeng frowned. "I've heard this voice in a trance, but I'm not familiar with it. Can't remember for a while." Then I heard Bai Xuelan say, "It's okay to drink. However, you have to accompany me to drink a cup." Another female voice, which Xuan Huaifeng recognized, was the lady Yu Luha, who was smiling and said, "Chief, don't embarrass my sister. She's tender. Besides, her mother is strict with discipline and has never allowed her to drink too much. Why don't I have a drink with you and let her sing a drink next to you? Sister Farong, didn't you sing Pear Flower Tears very well? Sing a good piece for the chief." Xuan Huaifeng heard Yu Luhua's words and suddenly understood. The one who spoke just now was the young woman who was with his brother-in-law in the park. Didn't the third brother introduce at that time that she was a famous artist, Lu Farong? That is, Yu Luhua's peers. Bai Xuelan disagreed and said, "Isn't it true that drinking pear blossom tears as a drink will make you more worried?" This chief wants to have fun today. So I don't want to listen to pear blossom tears. You Luha wants to drink with me, then drink. But you, if you wanna not drink, you have to sing a qualified piece for me. You come first, other instruments are omitted, only the pipa accompaniment, the lyrics are more refreshing. Maybe someone in the room was named by Bai Xuelan. And it was another tender voice that I had never heard before, and asked softly, it doesn't matter if I sing, but what is a qualified song? Bai Xuelan said. You choose to sing what you think is good. If it suits my appetite, I will naturally reward you. The woman pondered for a while, then said, then let's sing this. After a few pipa turns, he heard the humming sing, being in one heart will end this life. Chin and Sei are harmonious, Luangfeng and Ming. After only one sentence was sung, Bai Xuelan hummed and said, stop, stop. This song is greatly unqualified. Pooters are self-righteous fantasies. Anyone who says that love is eternal and that he lives forever is a big liar. And they should all be shot for fraud. He had already drunk a few glasses at this time. When he said that, everyone followed his meaning and laughed and said, that's right. You are a high-ranking official, and you really see it thoroughly. Tang Huang Yeming, Liang Zhu Wadi, but it's just on the stage, coaxing fools. That's it. After that, a few more people sang babble. Bai Xuelan said something was not good. Some said it was good, drinking and eating food, and having fun with the girls. When it was Lu Farong turn to sing, she just sang the 3 words, in my heart, when Bai Xuelan stopped again and said with a smile, I said that I want to be happy tonight, but you should be punished because of your concern. You Luha. This once you are not allowed to help her, you must ask her to have a drink. Come here, come to my side to receive the punishment. Lu Farong said shyly, if you bully me again, I will leave. Bai Xuelan said, you're leaving, and I'm spoiling the fun. Then I'll punish you. Sister Yu, who told her to bring you here? It's so boring for me. Yu Luha sighed and said, this is sitting in a row? It's so unfair. Sister Farong, please don't hurt me. Go over and confess your guilt, cheer up the chief, and drink a cup. No, you just drink 3 cups. Chief, do you think I've done this well? Bai Xuelan smiled and said, very good, very good. Lu Farong said, just bully me. Sure enough, she walked to Bai Xuelan's side and drank heavily and had a cup. Everyone applauded. Xuan Huaifeng was outside listening to Bai Xuelan chatting and laughing with them, which was not very pleasant. At this time, another servant on the stairs came up with a food box. Xuan Huaifeng shrank inward, avoiding the corner, so that the servant could not see it. Cannot help but be bitter. Why do you come here? It's really mediocre and self-inflicted. But he was very unwilling to just walk away from the room like this. Bai Xuelan didn't know what to say. The girls burst into laughter, chattering into a mess. And there were some miscellaneous and indecent words. Yu Luha said, they all sang, so let me sing something. Bai Xuelan said, if you sing well, I will reward you too. Yu Luha smiled and said, for your reward, I'll go for it. I usually accompany people to dinner, but I don't sing this song, but today, for you to have fun, I'll make an exception. Holding the pipa, swiping with 5 fingers on it, melodiously, singing, have sex on the coral pillow. Hold the rain and carry the cloud, and turn the phoenix upside down. With just this sentence, Bai Xuelan shouted okay and laughed bitterly. Yu Luha got this good sound, and was very proud, so she sang more and more provocatively, the waist is placed in the east wind style. And the cherry lips are fragrant and misty. Thousands of things. As they sang, Bai Xuelan clapped the table, happily synchronizing the rhythm, and said, it's hard for you to be good. I'll write you a check for 1,000 yuan and let you buy 2 new outfits. Well, you are also a beauty with a slender waist. Xuan Huaifeng's handsome face sank. Unable to bear it, he turned around abruptly, rushed down the stairs without saying a word, and walked towards the gate of the mansion. Halfway through, he stopped abruptly, his chest rolled with blood. And there was a stubbornness in his beautiful eyes. He bent down to pick up a stone, went back downstairs, raised his hand and threw it at the window on the second floor. This shot in anger. His strength was very accurate, only to hear a crisp bang. The stone broke the western stained glass window and smashed straight in. And there was a sudden exclamation of to come true in the small flower hall. As soon as Xuan Huaifeng succeeded, he turned around and ran away. When Bai Xuelan appeared in a terrifying manner on the second-floor porch, he only caught a familiar tall and long back from a height, and fled in the direction of the small courtyard like an antelope, and disappeared behind the water chestnut door in a flash. Bai Xuelan held the railing, stretched his neck, and watched from a distance. With a gloomy face, he disappeared. Yu Luha came out of the small flower hall and surrounded Bai Xuelan with her sister. She also followed his line of sight and shook her head to look into the distance, complaining, "What kind of nerd does this kind of thing? I'm completely new. The woolen clothes are all stained with soup." Bai Xuelan put his arms around her waist and said absently, "What is that? I will send you 2 pieces of Japanese silk and satin tomorrow, and let you make new clothes, plus a pair of pearl earrings for each person. What do you think?" The crowd didn't expect him to be so generous, and they exclaimed in surprise and thanked him continuously. Bai Xuelan said, "No need to thank me. Ask someone to set up the table again, and bring some hot wine and hot dishes. Come and sing 2 good songs." "Well, it was you just now, it's very good." "Wait a minute, you can sing it again, just sing it to me in detail." The girl named by Bai Xuelan was only 15 or 16 years old. An ugly actress who had just appeared on stage twice. "Didn't you say that the song was very unqualified? Why did you want me to sing it again?" Bai Xuelan's eyes flashed. A smile slowly escaped from the corner of his mouth, and he whispered, "Silly girl, this time. Don't you understand?" Although the smile was very light, it was also very charming. Like the stars in the dark night sky, when they glance at them occasionally, they reveal a bright and subtle silver light that is distant and elusive. Even the most splendid gem in the king's crown is incomparable. This night, since the small flower hall was hit by the stone, it has been raining and the sky has been fine, and I have seen a rainbow.